All right, so let's start with Rafael Devers. First of all, have you seen him in person yet?
Yes.
Okay. Does he look like he's in shape?
He looks like Rafael Devers, who doesn't always look like he's in shape. I mean, that's part of the thing. He's got a doughy body. He's got that dad bod, and it's funny. We were talking to Alex Cora about it yesterday. You see him in the cage in a uniform, and you say, "Yeah, that's Rafael Devers. He looks fine." Then you see him walk by in shorts and a T-shirt, and you say, "Is he in the best shape?" It's always an issue with him. Cora was pretty blunt the other day when he said, I thought he was a little behind in where he should be physically. But I will say, you watch him in the batting cage, and he's elite. So the concern is, is the breakdown coming when you've got that kind of body? He's getting older. We all are. And, you just got to take care of yourself. And I think they're trying to get him to take that part of it more seriously.
Okay, so I am one of the maybe only people that seems to I understand where Devers is coming from. In that my theory is I if I was him and you're the best player on the team, and then during the offseason they sign a guy and the big signing is someone that plays your position, and then they're asking you to get off the field, it would piss me off too. And then I also understand why Casas is getting like Dan Roach was giving a lot of crap yesterday. I understand. I'd like that if I mean that's Casas' guy. Bregman's new. This is our third baseman. I don't have any problem with that either. But how much of an issue do you see this being? Is it being blown up too much here? What's the vibe down there?
Yeah, it's not an issue right now, but it absolutely could be. And when you talk to some of the guys behind the scenes, off the record and all that, they're a little concerned how this plays off because it's two of your leaders. Let's start with the Devers part of it. I'm with you. I mean, I try to tell people, put yourself in his shoes, right? If they told me tomorrow somebody else was hosting Red Sox baseball, my reaction probably wouldn't be, well, whatever's best for NESN. It'd probably be, I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
That's my gig. I don't want to give it up. Now, what he does over the next 6 weeks, you got to go earn it. He's been, depending what metrics you use, he's been the worst or one of the worst defensive third basemen in baseball over the last 7 years. He's improved. He's better than he was. But if you want to keep that job, this guy's a Gold Glover. Bregman won the Gold Glove last year. So go out and show that you're ready to be the third baseman, because second base is up for grabs. If Devers is good enough down here, Bregman will probably be at second base. If somebody shows they can take second base, then there's more pressure on Devers. And the thing about Casas, I don't know if anybody's talking about it up there. Let's not forget, if Bregman's a third baseman, one of the landing spots for Devers is first base.
Exactly.
So
yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Because there's a little, he's watching out for his own gig as well. The interesting thing down here is Vaughn Grissom, who probably is top of the depth chart at second base. He's Casas' roommate down here. So Casas comes out and says, Bregman's our second baseman. I'd like to know what dinner was like that night at the condo. Because Casas basically said Vaughn Grissom is going to go to Worcester, and then had to go home and, fire up the grill with him.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Tom, Caron, it's Andrew Callahan from the Herald. Great to speak with you. That's no lip service, longtime part of my summers, professional, pristine broadcaster, Tom Caron. You mentioned...
That's two compliments. Wow. It's too much.
That just means I'm old. I
had already complimented him, and now you're jumping in as if you're complimenting.
Well, you've got time to make up.
Don't worry, Tom. I'm not complimenting you at all.
15 years, Fred.
Thanks, John.
Jesus Christ, Andrew. Show some restraint.
Tom, you mentioned that this could be an issue. It isn't right now. Certainly feels like the honeymoon period of spring training. If and when would you know when Cora has to make a decision about splitting reps or giving starts out? When will we know if this is a problem?
Yeah, well, 3 weeks from now, Andrew, if all of a sudden Devers isn't getting any time at third base in these spring training games, halfway through camp, and he's still simmering about it, then you got a problem. And again, the problem is behind closed doors. I talked to a couple players an hour after the Devers press conference, and they were fringe guys, but guys on the team, and they were all sort of worried about it. They're like, "What's going on here? This is not, this was a really, really happy camp when we all got here last week. The Bregman news put everybody over the top. They got a couple good young pitchers here. All of a sudden you feel like, all right, they're doing something here. And, your best player from the last 7 years, the only guy left from the World Series in 2018, comes out complaining. So, that's the mom and dad arguing in front of the kids. The young guys are just looking at it with their mouths open. So I think, to answer your question, I think if we're a few weeks into this camp and all of a sudden you're seeing Bregman play third base every day in these games, and that's the storyline, how Devers reacts to that is going to tell you if this is going to be a problem.
How is Alex Cora handling this, in your opinion, and do you think his relationship with Rafael Devers will help?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They've got a really good relationship. If you remember back to 18 and when they won the World Series, Cora was really tough on him. He was the guy who sort of knew when Devers needed a boot in the backside. If you remember, Bogarts was part of that. Bogarts and Cora did a really good job sort of trying to get him to be more disciplined. And so there's definitely a father-son relationship there. He had the night that Casas talked, that night, Cora had everybody, the whole team, over to his house here in Florida, and they had a great cookout. And he said there was no talk of it. Devers was there laughing, joking, having a good time. So I think this is what Cora does best. He's really a communicator. He's transparent with the players, fills them in on what's going on. So, again, it's early days, and right now, Devers is still behind with the shoulder, so he's not even on the field. He's working out on his own. Right now, Cora's handling it well. Again, talk to me in 3 weeks. We'll see where this all goes.
All right. And in terms of the kids, who are you keeping? Who are you keeping your eyes on? Who are you most intrigued by?
Well, Roman Anthony is the class of them. He walks around, and we were talking to Garrett Crochet yesterday. Crochet said, I can't believe this guy's only a few years younger than me. Roman Anthony walks around like he's been in the big leagues for 10 years, and he's 20 years old. We're playing Northeastern tomorrow. Anthony's younger than most of that Northeastern team. He's the guy, but he's an outfielder, and this is a good outfielder. So it's going to be tough for him to make the team. The guy to watch right now is Christian Campbell, because they are giving Campbell every opportunity to be the second baseman of this team this year. And if he ends up grabbing that job, and he's got work to do defensively, his footwork is a little bit off, I think, right now. He's got to get that together. But if he can come in and show you that he's the second baseman now, then this team is going to be best with Bregman at third base. That means Devers has to become the DH, and then this whole thing blows up. So Christian Campbell is the guy to watch because that'll affect everything else.
And they wouldn't put Devers at first.
I don't think so. Not with Casas here.
Okay.
Maybe eventually. The other part of this too is Bregman's got those opt-outs. So that's the other thing. If I'm Devers, I'm like, you're going to move me off third base, and in a year Bregman might walk away. And what? You're going to stick me back at third base?
Right.
I do think that's part of what factors into his mentality here. But I think Casas is your first baseman. So I think Devers would have to be DH. And I think he'd be a great DH. The guy's a great hitter. But some guys just hate it because, you strike out and you go sit on it for 3 innings and you can't do anything about it. Well, guys don't like that.
Yeah, so because you're around it so much, there's more. It's not football where it's 16 games where you switch positions, you're out there for 3 hours and it's over. I mean, if I'm Devers, I might be frightened that it's going to cost me offensively, right? I've never been a DH before. I'm in the major leagues for my bat. But, my whole routine is off now. My whole preparation is off.
But you do have a resource. I mean, David Ortiz is talking.
Enough with the David Ortiz.
David Ortiz was a full-time DH by the time he was Devers' age.
David Ortiz has been supported, by the way, Devers, and also this magic potion of David Ortiz is nonsense, I think. But whatever.
That was, you asked about Cora. The one moment where I thought he got testy, I forget who it was, Christopher Smith from Mass Live maybe, asked him in that first day, is this something where maybe you need Ortiz to talk to Devers? And he just shot him a lot. He's like, listen, I can handle this team. I can handle my job. I don't need Big Papi coming in to help me out to talk to the players. But, listen, Jason Varitek, I remember when he was playing, Tech said, there's nothing I hate worse than DHing. He goes, it is the most helpless feeling if you strike out and drag that bat back into the dugout knowing I'm not going to do anything to help this team for 2 innings. And to your point, Fred, it's not just your routine. As we talked about body type and stuff, it is not the most physically demanding sport ever created, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys, the work they take in the afternoon on their position, that's kind of their workout for the day before the game. Right, and if you've spent your whole life spending an hour at third base every afternoon, getting loose, getting ready, getting a sweat on, all of a sudden you take that away. What? I'm just going to go stand in the tunnel for an hour hitting fastballs. You're taking away everything the guy knows about his daily approach to baseball. and telling him to learn something new. And that's not easy for some guys.
Yeah. I mean, I sympathize with the guy. I mean, I don't know why everyone's all over him like right away, like he's supposed to be so happy about all this, but whatever. All right.
Listen, I'll say this at the end. If it's a motivated Rafael Devers here who's going to come out and answer the bell for competition, and he becomes a better third baseman because of this, it all worked out great. He's got to go out and do this, so we'll see if he does.
All right. Well, Tom Caron, it's been too long. We'd like to have you on far more often. Everyone watched the NESN coverage of spring training. Tom Caron, thank you. It's wonderful.
I thought John Wallach's work as the negator to bring the two sides back together on this were beautiful. All right, so John, well done.
Yeah, behind the scenes, he was really he had a whole dossier of things he was talking about. PowerPoint presentation.
This was an honor of a lifetime, Tom. Don't let that be lost or Fred's words cast mine aside. I just want you to know.
Andrew, I'm quickly becoming a big fan, so keep up the great work.
I'll tell you.
Thank you, sir.
It sounds phony to me, Tom, but I know. I mean, that's just me. All right, Tom, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Red Sox analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.